Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Non Sequitur Nerds. Tonight, fasten your seatbelts because we're talking show stopping moments from movies and TV. As always, though, I'm Tim, joined by Ian. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, things are going pretty good. It's the weekend.
Finally.
Been through right. Been through kind of a hectic week this week. It was last week of school for my kids. I don't know about you, but
My kids have
uh,
just 2 days left, so
yeah.
why they didn't just
So
end it this week, I don't know. They're making them go Monday and Tuesday.
I don't know. Did you guys have any snow days or anything?
They did, but they already used their snow makeup days, so I
Hmm,
I don't know.
weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, whatever. But yeah. So moving on to the topic at hand, kind of showstopper or showstopper type moments, moments that kind of gave you goosebumps in movies, or those scenes that just made you go ah.
Right.
Uh, so, uh, I'll kind of let you start things off since I'm usually the one that leads the pack.
Okay.
But what you got?
And for starters, we should probably go ahead and preface this that there may be spoilers for some of these things if you haven't seen them yet.
True.
Kind of goes without saying. But one that the first one when you suggested this topic, the first one to me recently that came to mind, which will be no surprise to anybody that knows me, was the ending of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think again we've already spoiler tagged this one, but we did a review on it. We left out this ending because the movie is still pretty new when we put it out. But at the end, you get to see the original three plus the CG Spirit of Egon, and I have watched that movie countless times already, and I still tear up when you see the three living Busters. You know, each kind of doing the double take to see the ghost of Egon standing there next to him. Like every time that one, I tear up at that. That at least recently has been for me like one of the most impactful movie scenes. Um, and like it fit the theme of the whole movie. It didn't feel out of place, and it was incredibly well done. I know like you and I got to go see it together in theaters, and like we were both like just speechless at that scene.
Yeah, that the movie in and of itself was already a good sequel and
Oh yes.
homage to the originals. In with recent events and things like that, obviously with the passing of Ivan Reitman, um, it feels even more powerful now when when you really think about it.
Oh, for sure.
You know, uh, Jason Reitman has done a fantastic job with the movie, and I'm very eager to see where he's going to go with the franchise.
Well, I mean, they've already
Excuse me.
confirmed the
After this.
sequels in the works. Just like everybody kind of figured it would after the success of this one, but it
Hmm.
was within the last month, I think. Sony has came out and officially said, yes, we are starting pre-production on it. This is a thing that exists, but that's beyond that. We have no more details on it. But it's if the sequel to Afterlife does kind of continue this trend of being a love letter not only to the fans but to the series and to all the cast and crew that came beforehand that are no longer with us, I think it's going to be positioned to be a pretty substantial, successful film.
Yeah, and obviously the core thing that we're talking about is that penultimate scene with the Ghostbusters, and it was just such a nice and loving homage even to Harold Ramis,
Oh,
the
absolutely.
legendary Harold Ramis. Um, and the CGI looked very good.
Yeah, like
Um,
it,
you know,
like
he
like you could tell he was a ghost, but it was done realistically enough that like I thought that they had just gotten a full body double, but it was actually like throughout the movie it was I think three different people plus CG. Like, but looking at the face, I hate to say it because well no I won't say it because I feel like the scene I'm going to reference from another show might be on one of our lists, but the face was very well done and it didn't look CG and out of place. I'll just keep it at that.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. All right.
What
Well,
what do you have?
I'll take one here recently. Mine kind of have a bit of a theme going to them because I'm gonna stick with some of the movies that I absolutely love. But
Okay.
I'm gonna go with something from television show, and obviously the statute of limitations on these is much shorter now.
Yep.
So, what I'm going to go with actually is the last third of the season 2 episode of The Mandalorian, which is the arrival of Luke Skywalker.
Which is the
Um,
scene that I was going to reference, but I'm like, one of us. If I know I had it, that was actually on my list. I'm like, Ian probably has it too. I'll keep that one. But yeah,
yeah,
that was like I think Mando was a show that at the time you had a lot more free time, so you were watching it as it was coming out. And like
yeah.
you and I were like texting each other, like, okay, have you watched it yet? Yes. Okay. Holy crap! Like you and I went off on that last episode, like in a good way.
Yeah, I actually I watched it at my parents' house with my brother because he and I had also been kind of doing the same thing, like because Mando would come out on like Friday morning or something like that, and he
Yep.
wasn't working, so he would like get up and then watch it and then text me throughout the day going, "Have you watched it yet? Have you watched it yet? Have
Yep.
you watched it yet?" But that weekend we knew that I was going down there, so we both held off on watching it until I got down there, and then we watched it together, and he and I were just like
Yeah.
ah!
Yeah.
Like, oh
Well,
my god!
well,
Because
because
I mean, because
one.
we were sitting there,
Oh,
we were
good.
both sitting there going, "No, they wouldn't.
Yep.
Would they? Are they? No. Oh my god, they did!"
Well, because like for one, it was completely unexpected because for the most part, the Mando was all new characters. And then, like at the end, they're like, okay, well, this would put it at the time period where there would be another Jedi, but like, no, they're not going to put Luke in this. That's too big of a name. But then,
Right.
he got his hallway scene, and we're like, and then they showed more of it, and then you see the gloved hand, and you see a close up of the lightsaber, and you're like, no, 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 this can't be this can't be what's going on right now. But like,
Yeah. They,
it
they
didn't.
definitely
Good.
as the scenes played out more, it definitely you could definitely tell it was Luke just by the more and more of those reveals.
Yeah.
The green lightsaber, the gloved hand, like you said, his belt buckle.
Yep.
It's a very distinctive costume design piece for Luke. So it just progressively got
Well, and like
more and
when you
more.
see the X-wing pull up at first, like my initial thought was, okay, this is a red herring. It's an X-wing. It could be anybody. There's no way that they're gonna make this Luke's X-wing. But then I was gladly proven wrong.
Right. And again, he got his Vader moment, like his Vader hallway scene
Yep.
moment.
Ironically,
Um,
yeah.
Ironically, but it's well, the some of the other things that from that scene again, playing homage to kind of his learning and things like that. While he's in the final hallway, if you notice at one point he deflects a blaster bolt by sticking his saber behind his back. That's actually a very Anakin thing
Yes, it
from
is.
the Clone Wars series.
Yep.
It was something that Anakin always did, was deflecting. He put the saber behind his back to deflect blaster bolts. So
Yep.
even that subtle thing was kind of an homage back to Vader and Anakin,
Yeah.
really. So,
Oh,
but yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, that was one of those scenes that I was like in tears, like goosebumps. It was just such an amazing scene.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. But so what do you got then? What's
Well,
your next one?
one it's a little bit older at this point. Um, the original Ghost in the Shell movie.
Okay.
The ending scene where the Major is fighting that like big like tank mech thing, and she's just trying to rip the hatch off. You know what scene I'm talking about? And like you see
Yeah.
her like she's straining, her cybernetics are literally like dislodging from her body, and like just the I'm trying to think how to word it. Just like the music with the animation, with the various angles they chose to animate it at, everything about that like that was a jaw-dropping moment for me because this was still, fairly early on into my anime viewing childhood. And this is one of those early anime that even to this day Ghost in the Shell is still a well-known franchise. I mean, they have new series coming out. They had a live action movie a couple years ago which is pretty much a retelling of that original anime movie. Say what you will, I
Terrible.
liked it. I liked it actually. The
It was
first
passable, but it definitely had its
there
problems.
there were some things they could have changed on it. I'll admit, but all in all, like I thought it was a good movie. Wasn't great, but it was good. But in the anime version, that scene where she's trying to rip that hatch off that tank mech, that has been like, at least in anime, has been one of the scenes that has always stuck with me, just because of how emotional it was. And that's one that, like, whenever I think of Ghost in the Shell, that's the scene or one of the scenes that I think of. I mean, I know it's probably
Yeah,
not up there on the list of like iconic movie scenes of all time, but for me, that's always been one of my favorites. Plus, it's the Major; she kicks ass.
yeah, I would agree. Ghost in the Shell is, the television series that they did gets the standalone complex. The original or the first season,
Yeah,
both seasons were done by Production IG, and it's a fantastic, one of the um, the tour de force studios in the industry. They're
yeah, they
probably one
are.
of the most well known.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it was such an amazing series that they were able to transition then from that anime, which came out what 20 years
Uh,
prior to the
uh,
series.
yeah. Prior to that, even that series is a couple years back now.
Right. I mean, I remember watching the series when I was in college, so I mean, that series
Been a little
is
while.
probably 35 or so years old, I think. But
It's up there, just
I
like
mean,
us.
they brought some of those same scenes back, for the series. I think one of Kevin's favorite scenes was from an earlier episode, if you remember it, where the Major is fighting some terrorists or something like that, and there's like a mecha, like someone in a mecha suit, and she
Okay.
loses an arm in the fight, but she's got that like basically Harkonnen cannon
Oh yeah.
that she's just like cocking, like she puts it on her knee and just cocks it back with one arm,
Yep.
and then point blanks this mecha in the face
Yep.
repeatedly as she tries to, just like get the pilot out of it. But
Yep.
yeah, it's such an amazing series. So I completely can understand and agree.
Oh yeah. So you're up
um,
next.
yeah, so I'll take one from um, let's see. I'm gonna do one a more recent movie. And this is kind of like the impetus for the topic this week. Um, is the uh, Avengers Assemble scene from Endgame.
Yep.
Um, it's that scene that sees the return of all of the Avengers in their fight against Thanos.
Yep. All the
Uh,
Avengers.
all of the Avengers, like pretty much every character that's not dead
Yeah.
that they've introduced in the MCU
Yep.
is back.
Well,
And it was just such a
that even spawned that
go ahead.
that meme of Wong looking at Strange. What, you wanted more? And like I remember seeing a meme of, they took that scene and Wong goes, "What, you wanted more?" And they start having, like, they like green screened in people from like other movies coming in, and it keeps cutting back to Wong going, "You wanted more?" You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I know. Yeah, I mean, it almost became like that, like the final battle from Ready Player One. If you've ever seen, if you've seen that movie, like they just had every franchise that you
Yep.
could think of
Yeah, they did.
was in that final scene. Godzilla, Gundam,
Yep.
Iron Giant. You
Which I'm gonna have to
know.
knock this one off my list, because that was actually the next one I was gonna talk about.
Oh, okay. Well, my apologies, but
All right, a little there you go. So yeah, the final battle scene from Ready Player One is my last, or was, well, my next thing.
well, we'll jump into that here in a
All
moment
right.
then. But I want to talk a little bit more about this scene. I mean, it was such a powerful scene, and I saw the movie in theaters. Maybe the day that it came out. I don't remember. It might have been a couple days later, so that I could actually get seats.
Right.
Um, but I mean, it was just such a raucous occasion.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I've been to many movies in my lifetime, and I can probably count on one hand like the number of times that I've actually heard like the crowd, like the audience, just erupt
Well, I can
and
think
that
of one other
movie had
time, but it's because somebody farted during Akira. Um,
Tetsuo, where are you?
so were you in the theater when we saw that, or did I just tell you about that? I don't even remember now. Were you with?
I,
Because like we've told the
I
story so
can't
much, I
remember.
don't remember if you were there or if you were just part of it because I've told the story to you so much.
I think I was there, but I honestly don't
Maybe
remember.
I don't know for sure. But no, true
Anyway,
story. That actually happened to us. You know, there was a line, "Tetsuo, where are you?" And then one of our friends just rips ass, and you just the entire theater just erupts into laughter because it was not subtle. It was not a subtle fart. It was
no.
a because the movie goes like almost dead silent at that point, and like we're near the back of the theater, and and the people in the front are laughing about it. So
I mean, it was like someone rip starting a chainsaw.
I
Is
mean,
really what it was.
pretty much. But no, yeah, that last scene in Endgame. I mean, just seeing literally everybody down to from Captain America all the way down to the Wakandan like nameless soldiers, everybody, and that like,
Well,
and they've got that the Avengers theme playing like over the entire scene, just them gathering, and finally hearing Cap say "Avengers assemble." Finally,
not only that, but props to Chris Evans on his acting in that particular scene because he's Cap. He's never giving up. Like he just got his ass handed to him by Thanos. His shield is broken. He's cut up. He's beat up, and then
but he's got a hammer now.
but he's got a hammer now. But he gets the message from Sam Falcon,
Yep, on your left.
and they all start coming back, and just the emotion on his face is so powerful. I
Yeah.
mean, because he doesn't say anything, he just acts. It's a very um, physical performance, but it emotes so much
Oh
about
yeah.
that particular scene that it was just so amazing to watch. And then, of course, you have the return of Spider-Man and Tony's face as he sees everybody and everything else. So it's just such an amazingly powerful scene. And then obviously as he says, he doesn't even yell Avengers Assemble. He really whispers it.
Yeah.
Um, and the battle really kind of kicks off at that point, and it's just such a great transition and powerful scene.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but anyway, so then we'll go ahead and move on to yours, the final battle from Ready Player One
Well,
that you had mentioned. So go
yeah.
for it.
Well, and not even just the final battle, but like the movie itself was full of a lot of, oh my gosh, did you see that cameo? Oh, did you see that Easter egg? The entire movie is nothing but like pop culture video game Easter eggs, but particularly the final battle scene where you get to see, and I never thought in my life I would see this on a big screen, Mechagodzilla versus the original RX-78 Gundam. I never thought that was a fight.
78 too.
RX-72, thank you. I never thought that was a fight that I needed in my life, but I'm glad that it is part of it now. Because
It was a fight that you wanted and needed.
Yes, exactly. um, Sadly, a cameo by a Gundam was better than the actual live action Gundam movie from like 20 years ago. I really hope
I think
Netflix
it might
doesn't
be
butcher.
older.
I really hope Netflix doesn't butcher this. They're gonna, but I hope they don't. But they're gonna. But at least I'll have Ready Player One to fall back on if I ever need to see a quasi live action Gundam fight. Um, yeah, it's just, I mean, it had all the momentum of like any superhero film, but with two giant robots, two iconic giant robots on top of that. You know, pillars of Japanese pop culture. The Godzilla franchise and the Gundam franchise, duking it out. And like Ian mentioned, even the Iron Giants in the final scene, the DeLorean from Back to the Future's in there. I mean, just everything is in this scene. I mean, it is to video game big team ups what Avengers is to comic book big ups. This final scene. I mean, it's kind of
Yeah, I
the
mean,
video game end game scene.
Right. um, it's and it's not just it's not just like all of those cutscenes. Like it's very well the cinematography's
Yeah.
great. You know,
Well,
you
this is a
you
Spielberg film, wasn't it?
yes, it was a
Yes, I mean
Spielberg
he
film.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but I mean, and like, there's so many like characters that you don't even realize are there. Like, it's a
Yeah.
blink and you miss it. Like, I just
Yeah.
pulled up a list here, and some of them that they have. So, Iron Giant,
Yep.
DeLorean, the Battletoads are in it. Um,
I
yes,
okay. I need to rewatch it. I didn't see that.
yeah, Zitz, Rash, and Pimple, they're in it.
Or maybe they were. I just haven't watched it in
Um,
a while. I don't remember.
they have characters from Battleborn, which I believe you were a fan of
I
that.
I was. I mean the ill-fated game that came out like within a month of Overwatch.
Right. Speaking of Tracer, Mercy,
Yep.
Doomfist are in it.
Yep.
Scorpion, Cyrex, Cassie
Yep.
Cage, Rain from Blood Rain, a bunch of DC characters, which doesn't surprise me because I believe that was a Warner Brothers
I
movie.
think so. Yeah.
Laura Croft, Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect
Oh, that's
series,
awesome.
Chun
There's a
Li,
lot.
Ryu, E
Holy crap.
Honda. Let's see, the Deadites from Army of Darkness. Master Chief and the Spartans, Spawn, He-Man, Gremlins, RoboCop, Sonic.
He-Man. Wait. So does this mean that that was Sonic's first cinema? A live-action debut, technically.
Technically, I think so.
So I need to go back and watch that because I'm curious what model of Sonic they used. If
I
they
don't
used
know.
video game Sonic, movie Sonic, or original movie Sonic.
Sonic.
Uh, that thing is nightmare fuel.
Let's see what else we got. Link, Chucky, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
Um, the Bub and Bob from Bubble Bobble, if you remember them.
Yeah. All
Obviously
right.
the RX-78 2. There's a Zergling.
Yep. I remember the
Um,
Zergling in it.
Ripley's Power Loader and a Xenomorph from Aliens. Let's see. Dizzy Whalen from Gears of War, the
Okay.
Ninja Turtles, Ruby Rose from Ruby is apparently in it. Lord of the Rings Cave Troll, Optimus Prime, Doom Guy,
Yep.
Samus. Um, yeah, like there's just like there's still plenty more, but
Okay. So
I
this is the Wong meme of you wanted more.
yes,
Oh my
this literally
god.
is the Wong meme. Oh look, Goku is supposedly in that scene too.
What?
It even says supposedly, like Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
I
Parentheses supposedly.
I have to look this up. Hang on.
Yeah. I mean the ones towards the bottom are kind of like speculated that they may even be like one of those literally blink and you miss it type moments, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so
That picture
so
doesn't
yeah,
come
I
in.
mean it's that particular scene is just one of those ones that was such a fun scene. I mean, it was a showstopper scene, but it was such a fun scene to watch and be a part of.
Right.
So,
I,
all right, well,
you
I'm
go on
gonna
ahead.
grab.
I need to see if I can
Yeah,
find.
no, you're fine. I'm gonna go ahead and grab another one. This is again from another more recent movie, but ironically, it's one we were kind of talking about a little, very briefly a moment ago. It's
All right.
Godzilla, the kind of re-release remake Godzilla that came out several years ago. Um, the scene that I'm referring to is the first use of Godzilla's atomic breath in that movie, where you hear the charge up and you hear uh the music, and then you kind of see like Godzilla's tail fins lighting up through like the smoke and the clouds and whatnot, and then it lets loose. And it was just such a for a fan of Godzilla, it was just such a powerful scene seeing that, because it literally did give me goosebumps because I was just kind of fanboying out, like geeking out at that particular scene.
Okay.
So,
So
uh,
real quick, I looked it up. It's not necessarily a Goku cameo. It's a reference to Goku's attack, the Kamehameha. because there's a scene where Percival took a step back, brought his arms back like he's going to do it. All he says is "ka," and then he gets knocked over, and the attack gets kind of broken. So it's not. So people have debated if it was a Kamehameha, or since there's Street Fighter characters in it, if it's a reference to the Hadoken. But he says something that it sounds like it's debatable whether he says "ha" for Hadoken or "ka" for Kamehameha. So that's
Right.
why it's debatable. It's not Goku, it's Goku's signature attack. So, sorry, ADHD moment done.
For now.
Yeah, give me
Um,
like 5 seconds.
right. So yeah, what I was referring to is the Godzilla's, appearance of the fire breath, his atomic breath.
Yeah.
And sorry, I saw my green screen moving, and I realized a cat must have like bumped it.
Yes, I
So
saw the kitty.
yes. Anyway, so yeah, the first appearance of the first use of the atomic breath in the more recent one of the more recent Godzilla movies, it was just, again, I was just sitting there in the theaters and just
Right?
geeking out about it. And of course, my then wife at the time was just kind of like looking at me like, "What?
It's a Godzilla movie.
Like,
What?
you wouldn't understand."
Right?
So, anyway, I think that might be. I mean, that movie in and of itself was an awesome movie, even though Godzilla gets, I think, 10 minutes of screen time
Yeah, like
throughout that
it
that
was very
movie.
much a what was that film? Cloverfield. Very much like
Yeah,
Cloverfield, where you didn't really get to see Godzilla a whole lot. But like the sequels to that reboot gave him a lot more screen time, because I mean that's ultimately what people want out of a Godzilla movie. They want Godzilla. They don't want the looming
right.
threat of Godzilla. They want Godzilla. But and it kind of, I mean, if we're talking Godzilla movies, one that isn't on my list, but kind of it almost made the list. Shin Godzilla, which I don't know if you've seen that or not. If you have,
I haven't, but I've heard that
okay,
it's good.
you absolutely need to watch it. It is a completely different take on Godzilla. But in this one, like Godzilla is a creature that evolves at a rapid pace. But when you finally see what in the movie is Godzilla's final form, it almost made my list. Getting to see like that a completely different version from. I mean, Godzilla typically has a very signature style. This way, you could tell it was Godzilla. Did look quite a bit different, but I liked the design of it. But this one didn't quite make my list
Okay.
because it was fun, but it wasn't like show stopping. Oh my god, did you see that? It was, oh wow, that looks cool.
Nice.
But
All right. Fair enough. So I did mine. What's another one on your list?
another one for me, it seems like a lot of our movies kind of relate to other ones that either one of us are talking about. Um, Dragon Ball Broly, or Dragon Ball Z Broly, or Super Broly. I don't remember if it was part of the Super series at that point or not. But anyway, the new Broly movie.
Okay.
The first time, like I got to see that and Resurrection F in theaters. I'm looking forward to seeing Dragon Ball Super Superhero in theaters. I assume it's getting a theatrical release. The last two have, but watching that movie in theaters, the first time you see Broly go into his ultimate form, where he's huge. He has the greenish yellow, a legendary Super Saiyan hair, which they've kind of tossed that storyline out to the side, which is good because it was confusing and it was hard to make that canon. But seeing in the new animation style a Broly as a character that actually works instead of just being angry because a baby cried next to him and somehow he remembers that and somehow remembers that baby's name. The new seeing a new vastly improved Broly in a new much cleaner animation style finally reached that transformation. I mean, between the choreography of the fight scenes, the animation, the music, everything about it, like I was in awe watching it in theater. Like I was silent, jaw dropped, like the whole 9 yards. Just because, like,
Well, I mean, if I remember correctly, that new movie, the Super Brawley, I believe, it is canon now, isn't
yes,
it? Like
yes,
the other movies were pretty much every other Dragon Ball movie was never considered canon,
yep.
with the
Everything
exception
before
of
Resurrection F is they could, with minor tweaks, be made canon, but they were specifically left open ended. Like fans have like put together timelines, like, okay, well, if this movie happened at this point, that would line up. but that's generalizing it. Resurrection F was the first canon one.
Right, and it's still only kind of pseudo canon because they went and took that storyline and did it as part of the Super
Yep.
show.
Yes.
And it was altered still. It was altered mildly between
Yeah.
the movie and the series.
Yep.
But it is so it's technically canon at the
Yep.
same time being not.
It's a
but
expanded canon almost, if you will.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
Broly, while that movie is considered canon, it didn't take place during the Super Anime, mostly because it takes place right after the Super Anime ends. So
Right.
they haven't technically addressed it. Now there have been rumors for pretty much since Super ended its anime run, because the manga is still going. The manga is still going really strong. It's interesting that they're coming out with another movie when they haven't officially announced any plans for the continuation of the anime. But what a lot of people are thinking, when Dragon Ball Z first was being produced as an anime, the manga was still ongoing, but it got to a point where the manga and the anime were overlapping, like their releases pretty close, which is why Z had a lot of fillers, which is why a lot of fights in the manga were maybe 1-2 chapters were spread out over 10 to 15 episodes of the anime, because they were getting to the point where they were catching up to the manga. The manga wasn't done yet, so they didn't want to start producing stuff based off of like reference notes before the final product was done. With Super, the manga's been going on for a while, so what people are thinking is that they're going to let the manga get a good ways ahead and then start the anime back up. Once it gets up to a point where it's getting closer, they'll find a logical stopping point, let the manga continue and kind of do that. But it's been a couple years now since the anime left. I mean, obviously since then we've had all of 2020 and beyond, which probably put a little bit of a damper on progress, but we are getting a new movie, a new, Dragon
Yes.
Ball Super superhero.
Yep.
Which will see the
So
return of Broly.
yep.
I'm happy about.
Yeah, and different voice actor these days. It's
Yeah.
Johnny Young Bosch, I believe, is the voice of Broly now.
Yep. Broly's
Yep.
not about love and peace. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
But he probably would be happier with a donut.
He probably would. Nice references for all of you aged anime fans.
Yes. And also, Timothy, for your knowledge, they
Yes.
now have the English dubs of Trigun on Crunchyroll.
They do. Yep.
Including the movie Badlands Rumble. The English dub is on there.
Good. I have the totally legitimate 3-disc full series box set that I bought from a convention years ago. But it's either the second or third.
The bootleg hillbilly.
No, it's totally legit. That's why it was only $15. But the second or third disc, one of them, like
$15, little man.
Exactly.
Put that shit in my hand.
Exactly. But it's either the second or third disc. Like the disc itself, there's no scratches on it or anything like that. But when it was being put on the disc, something glitched up where you'll start like the middle of one episode, it locks up, and then skips forward to like 3 or 4 episodes later, for no, like in the middle of another episode. But like,
Yeah.
if you go and select any of the episodes in between there, it will play them. But if you just watch, whatever episode it was, it locks up and then skips all those. But you can select and watch all of those individually. I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, the scene where Broly transforms.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and do one more here.
All right. What do you
and
got?
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and take. I have a pretty exhaustive list actually, so I'm gonna pick one from a recent movie. So this one is definitely very spoilery, but one I think everyone will appreciate, and I think the statute of limitation is worn off. But I'm going to say the specific scene in Spider-Man: No Way Home where Garfield Spider-Man saves MJ.
Yes, I will 100% agree with that scene.
Yes. And for those of you who are for some reason living under a rock and unfamiliar with, everything that was going on and why that scene was so powerful was because in the second Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield tries to save his girlfriend Gwen Stacy, and she winds up dying in very much a similar scene. And this is an opportunity for that particular Spider-Man to come to terms with it, as well as, I don't want to say fix his mistake, but be able to do what he wasn't able to do previously.
Yeah.
And so he saves MJ, and it become and it's a very short scene, but it is just so emotionally powerful. Like, you can't help getting kind of choked up at that particular scene, especially if everything that happened with that.
Well, and
So
Andrew
it's
Garfield, like, to his credit, like, you can see like his acting is amazing because you can see both his happiness that he did it, as well
Mhm.
as the sadness of him remembering him going through that. Like, you can see that all at the same time on him, and
Yeah.
just God, yeah, that scene that gave me goosebumps. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the entire movie in and of itself is a fantastic movie, and
Oh, sure.
great. I don't want to say fan service, but
It
a
was fan
love
service.
letter. It was fan service. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a great love letter to fans, and the return of Toby, the return of Andrew,
Yep.
being able to have them there, and just it's been what 20 years since Toby did Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think so.
But I mean, he just fell back into it so naturally.
Yep. And we
And
didn't
it was
get
just
emo Peter, which was great.
right, right. We didn't get emo Peter.
Yes. Nobody likes an
And the
emo
same with
Peter.
the exactly. And the same can be said with Andrew Garfield. He it's been quite a while since he was in those movies, and he fell right back into it amazingly. And just the Peter Parkers play off of each other so well
Yeah, I mean,
that
those
it
Peters really work good together.
yeah. I mean,
Peters, as far as you can see.
exactly. And sometimes they even cross the Peters.
That's
Um,
true. I mean, they're okay. I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm
yeah,
done with
yeah.
that
Well,
joke line.
moving on. So anyway, but yeah,
There's a
that
Peter
scene in
hug.
that movie,
Sorry.
exactly. That scene, that movie was just so amazing, and
Yeah.
it was just those jaw dropping moments that were absolutely fantastic.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that movie in
So
general had a lot of moments like that, but I think that's kind of the big standout one.
yeah, yeah, I would say so as well. All right. Well, I think that will probably take care of it for us for today.
Alrighty.
So, as always, thank you for joining us. We appreciate all of your time, and we appreciate you joining us. So, um, we'll go ahead and wrap up for now. And obviously, we want to play a thank you to our sponsor, Anchor.fm. Um, you know, that's where we're hosted and everything else. So, and then you can also catch us on social media, facebook.com/non sequitur nerds, twitter.com at non sequitur nerd, and then occasionally, maybe not really, twitch.tv/non sequitur nerds.
We need to actually have
So,
free time to do that.
right. Alrighty. Well, I think that'll do it for us today.
Think so.
And yeah. Well, we'll catch you guys later, and we wish you all a good morning, good evening, and good night. And yeah, so as always, for the Non Sequitur Nerds, I'm Ian.
I'm Tim. Night, everybody.